Hello everyone, it's Jan Monahan for Wrapping with Jan, and right now I'm going to be working with the September Hero Arts monthly kit, and this is near and dear to my heart. When I was a floral designer, I always used to look forward to fall. One of the things that I enjoyed working with was the Chinese lanterns, and that's what we're going to be working with this time, along with a lot of fall leaves. And anyway, let's just get started. For this first project, we're going to be making a gift bag, and you're going to need quite a few supplies. You'll need the infinity die from, and this is the oval infinity die from Hero Arts. Going to need some Versamark. You'll need the translucent leaf notes from the kit, along with the watercolor that came in the kit. I've got some gold embossing powder. I've got a gift bag that I've covered with some color coordinated cardstock, and one of the add-ons on the kit was the lanterns. It was a, I'm not sure what you call this. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do is, well, I put masking paper in the middle of some Canson 140-pound cold press watercolor paper, and then I'm going to very heavily ink this background stamp with the lanterns on it with my Versamark. And when I mean heavily ink, I'm serious about this, because we're going to be embossing a pattern on the watercolor paper, and then we're going to be using the watercolor as a background for the gift bag. Alright, now I've used this, and despite its color, my Versamark pad is still very juicy, and that's the best way to have them. And if you're using your MISTI, you've really got to push down on this. And if my head's getting in the way, I'm sorry, but I really need to put some pressure on this. Okay. All right. Now, we've got all that, and I'm going to take off the masking paper, and I'm going to put a fair amount of gold embossing powder on this. Okay, there we go. And put all this back. We'll clean this up a little bit later. Oops. Next thing we'll do is we'll heat set it. that took a while, but you can't rush these things because it's not going to work the way you think it will. And okay. Now, what I'm going to do just in sections, I'm going to take the watercolor from the kit, and now I haven't used these little paint brushes, so this will be an experiment for both of us. Alright, now that this is dry, I might as well be truthful. When I used those little brushes that came with the kit, it didn't work out so well. They might be suitable for something smaller, but if you're going to be painting anything more than about 1 inch square, you need to use another brush. So I started all over again, and I used a larger paintbrush. Still, I used the Daniel Smith, as you can see. I used the Daniel Smith or Hero Arts watercolor, and it turned up. Second time, it turned out pretty well. So the next thing I did is I took a black piece of cardstock, and from the kit, I printed "You Bring Color to My World," and also with the kit there was this ribbon, so I went ahead and used that, and I used double-sided tape to put on the back of this. And if you're using watercolor paper, something especially as heavy as 140-pound, you need to get some pretty heavy-duty double-sided tape, because it takes it takes a lot of strength to hold the watercolor paper down. My watercolor paper isn't warped or anything, but you just need that little extra insurance. And as you can see, I also put double-sided tape on the ribbon that holds the sentiment to the front. And as soon as I get this off, we'll finish this. And I went ahead, also from the kit, there was a branch, and I stamped that twice on the white space in there. And with the leaf notes, I wasn't sure really what to do with them, and then I started thinking, well, what if I just used a die cut and cut out leaves? So that's what I did. They start out looking like, you know, whole ones, and then all I did was die cut a piece out of the middle. If you're using at least it worked with my my Big Shot, I put a little bit of powder on the back so that it wouldn't stick to the cutting plates. Anyway, and I also put a full one on the gift tag that I'm going to use. And I've done some experiments with this. This worked out okay, but I can still see the double-sided tape on the back of it, and I didn't want to have that for on the gift bag. So after many trial and errors, I found that if you just put a minimum amount of the Nuvo glue drops on the back of this, it will dry clear, and you won't have anything visibly holding it to the paper. So, and when I did die cut these out of the leaf notes, I cut them almost right out of the center, and they look like real leaves, only in minis, and they've got the veins, and they've got the color variegation, or yeah, I guess it's a variegated color. And I thought that was a good way to use the leaf notes. Let's see, let's put this one down here, and another one right in the middle. Oh, I probably could use one more, but that's all right. Anyway, so with everything from the kit, where's my tag? I made a really pretty fall gift bag. And yeah, I had to do some experimenting, but I think it turned out okay. Oh, come on. I'm taking some burgundy and gold raffia and tying this up. And there you have it. That's project number 1. On to project number 2. All right, project number 2. This is also an add-on from this month's kit. This is the Autumn Moon stamp set, and it also has a coordinating die set that I'll also use. To start with, we're going to make a simple card, simple and quick. I'm using this octagon. I'm sure somebody would call it a stop sign because that's what it looks like. And I'm going to make 3 of these, and I want to make sure that they don't have to touch, but I want them to be close. So I'm taking a pencil and I'm marking them where they need to go. And I'm doing 3. Okay, that should work. Alright, well, let's see if it works. Alright. There's 1. All right. Right. There, that looks good. Okay. All right, we need more. Glad I've got my Misty. Okay. Now, as most of you know, well, before we do that, I'm going to use You Make My World Bright, because I'm going to put lanterns in each of these octagons. Oops, shoot. Let's make sure that's still working. Yeah. All right, that's good. Now, as I started to say, for those of you who watch my videos long enough, you know that when I make a card, I always make a matching envelope. It just makes it fun for everybody. And so let's turn this around. That a little bit darker. Oh, much better. All right, now I guess the easiest thing would be to choose a lantern, kind of like this one, at least for the outside of the envelope. Okay, that's good. All right. Now, before we leave the Misty here, I do need to stamp these lanterns, ouch, several times. Voila! Okay, very good. All right, I'm going to take my Copic markers, and to spare you the agony of having to watch me, I'm going to do this off camera, and I will be right back. All right, I'm done using my Copic markers, and I have decorated my envelope. And when you use Copics on envelopes, if it's a not very substantial envelope, it might bleed through. And so I always try to put a scrap piece of paper, cardstock, release paper, something in the envelope so that it won't it won't bleed through, and you know, kind of make your envelope not very professional looking. Anyway, okay, I went ahead and I used my Copic markers and colored all those in, and they didn't turn out too badly. I'm going to be using dimensional tape on this, and when I use dimensional tape, it's always wise to put some craft foam, fun foam, whatever you want to call it, in your card so it will survive the Postal Service's processing machines. And because I've seen some pretty there have been so many times when I've seen they just come out in shreds. Those machines are not they're not made to be gentle. But anyway, I'm going to put this craft foam on the back of my card base. There we go. And trim that up just a little bit. There we go. Then I'll go ahead and put it on my card. I'm ready. There we go. Okay. Put this right on top. And I did forget to erase these little pencil marks here. I'm not sure the recipient would notice, but I'll know it's there. And I want these lanterns to hang. Or at least look like they're hanging. And to do that, I'm going to use my Pilot addressing pen and very carefully draw a line . And make it look as if it's been tied on. Connect the lines. And there is project number 2. On to project number 3. All right, project number 3. This is a fairly easy project if you have the right tools. what I've got is some watercolor paper. I'm not sure where I got this. I think it was a door prize at some trade show. And I don't know whether it's cold press or what poundage, but I'm going to tape it down right here. And let me show you what I'm going to be using. And I will do a tutorial about this soon. But this is watercolor. It's called Brush Show Color, or Crystal Color. And I got the 12 pack, which I think is plenty. I know it comes like 24 and 48, but to me that's overkill. And it comes in, let's see, did you guys get to see that? And I had to order this, and I believe it was from London. I got it off of Etsy, and it comes in these, it's a powder, and a little goes an awfully long way. And I had my husband take his smallest drill and put 3 or 4 holes in the tops of these. I didn't even open them. They are still sealed because I don't want it to spill. And I'm going to be using, I think I'm just going to use 2 colors, orange and lemon. And what I'll do is I'm going to soak this watercolor paper with water. And I'm going to cover it completely. And then I'm going to take my finger and just kind of burnish it in. Make sure we've got it all covered. And then I'm going to zoom in here, and hopefully you'll be able to tell what happens. And what I'm going to do is, this is just like salt and pepper on your table, but what it does is really, really unique. Okay, that was the orange. And this is what they call the lemon. Now, I generally just leave this here. I've seen some people take their fingers and kind of massage it into the paper. And I've seen people, dry it and it moves it all around, but I like to just leave it. So, through the magic of YouTube, I'm going to take this and put it over here to dry. Whoops. And this is what I made previously before I started filming. And this is with both the orange and the lemon. And these are wonderful, wonderful for backgrounds. So this is a very simple card. See if I've got everything where I want it. And since this is watercolor paper, it does have a texture, and I've also put some shimmer mist on there just for a little added interest. It's watercolor paper and it does have a texture, so you may have to stamp it once or twice, so it's advisable to use your MISTI. Okay, we are going to have to do this again. really don't know what I did without this thing. I ruined a lot of projects, I can tell you that. And give it another try. And pardon my head. There, that's much better. There's still a few spots. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. And at this point, you don't really need to do anything else. The paint and the water and the paper did it for you. And here's my card base. And that's a nice size. And it's also a single layer card. You know, no dimensional tape, no craft foam, no extra postage. Okay. And there is project number 3. All right, for project number 4, you're going to need some fall colors of ink, and I've used all Distress Oxide inks here. I've used Candied Apple, Wild Honey, Peeled Paint, Fossilized Amber, and Fired Brick. And what I've done, and I'm hoping you can see this, is that I've taken a, this is from Simon, this is the stitched banner. I took the middle banner from the set, and all I did was trace around it with a pencil. And then I went ahead and die cut them out, so that I have 5 banners of all the fall colors. So let's get started. All right, I've got my T ruler, and I'm going to make a very light line down the middle of my, well, not the middle, about the lower third of my card base, so that I can line up the dovetails of the banner. And before, well, maybe I'll do that later. Okay. And for the sake of time, I'm going to put down several pieces of double-sided tape to hold the banners in place. I'm going to take, let's see, where is it? I'm going to take iced spruce. There it is. Okay, this is, once again, is Distress Oxide, iced spruce. And I'm going to, I put several of the images in my MISTI. And I'm sorry, this is a very loved instrument here. And I'm going to put one at a time. Well, let's try 2 at a time first. Make sure it gets good and inked up. I want the fall images to show up on the banners. There we go. That's good. Those two are good. And voila! Okay. If we can remove the back side of the double-sided tape. There. And I like to start in the middle. If you've ever watched anybody put down a tile floor, they'll always start in the middle because that is generally the focal point. And there we go. Okay. Now before we do any trimming, where's my black ink? Here we go. You are vibrant. Here we are. Okay, and I want to quickly erase there we go. Now my scissors. Okay, I'm going to save these. Probably make another project out of them. But there you have a very nice card. Very simple. And as usual, I have made a matching envelope so that the postman won't be bored when he picks things up. And I will have to remove this excess adhesive there, but we'll get that taken care of. So there is project number 4. Okay, project number 5. I'm using one of the add-ons from the kit this month. This is the Ornate Floral Stencil. And I'm also going to be using the Wendy Vecchi embossing paste. Now I tried to color the embossing paste with the watercolor that came in the kit, and I could not get enough pigment out to make it work. So I'm going to have to use my my other, oh, what's it called? Come on. My Colorcraft Brusho colors. I'm getting quite a bit more results from them. If you've never used Wendy Vecchi's embossing paste, this is like, oh, marshmallow fluff. So let's take a look. I'm using orange. And once again, you don't have to use very much of this stuff. And let's see. I think I'll use lemon. Now I'm just going to do a partial portion of this card, and it's going to have to be done in sections, so if this video looks a little choppy, that's why. It's got to dry, and we'll see how this works out. Stencils, regardless of what you're using them for or with, should always be taped down with some low-tack tape so they won't move. And let's see if I can get the color I want out of this. There we go. And once you finish with this, don't dilly-dally around. Go immediately to your first water source and put cold water on this, because you don't want it to harden and ruin your stencil or your palette knife or your stamping block. And you don't need very much. You just need matter of fact. Let's see. I'm going to put this right up against this so I don't mess up my card. And I'm doing this on my Tim Holtz Tonic Studio glass mat, and this glass mat has saved my tables from getting stained with all kinds of things. So alright, there's the orange. Let's wipe this off. Now let's try the yellow, or what they're calling the lemon. When I tried to use the watercolors that came in the kit, they just, it ended up looking like pastels, and pastels don't belong in fall. Pastels belong in the spring with baby chicks and bunnies and flowers and all kinds of other things, but not fall. Now, if this was not pigmented, I would scrape the rest of this off and put it back in the bottle. But I don't want to ruin what I've got in the bottle now. So let's see what this looks like. And then we'll go clean up. Very, very carefully. Take this off. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'll be right back. Okay, this is the wrap up to project number 5, and if you remember, I took the stencil with some dimensional embossing paste and I add a little pigment to it and let it dry. And while it was drying, I went ahead and on some watercolor paper, I stamped and die cut several of the images from the kit, and we're going to put all this together. So, first thing, I'm going to put some dimensional tape on the back of the vase so that all the plants can fit in there. And there's that. Let's see here. I started this down here. And I put double-sided tape on the back of this, back of these Chinese lanterns. Let's wait a minute. And there that is. And we'll squish this in there. There we go. All right. And there's card number 5. And I went ahead and took my Copic markers and I made a matching envelope. And this is Jan Monahan for Wrapping with Jan. I'd like to hear your comments. Anything, any positive comments, any constructive comments, let's put it like that. And if you would like, please sign up for my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you.